Celebrate Takoma is an event that was put on by the Takoma Park Recreation Department and the Takoma Park Recreation Committee. It's a partnership between the groups, and the meaning of it is to get to celebrate what Takoma Park is, the culture, the many different ethnicities within the city, just to celebrate the city overall. It's a wonderful opportunity to come out and meet your neighbors, have fun with friends, eat great food, listen to great music. It's also an opportunity to come out and take part in the Azalea Awards for those that are performing outstanding civic duties to Takoma Park.
And this year's winner for the School Activist Award goes to Lindsay Parsons and Karen Devitt. Come on. We are so excited.
Say something.
Thank you all for recognizing this. We've been working hard for 3 years, and we all are going to work together to make a difference in better school food. Thank you.
The Takoma Foundation is a local community foundation that gathers money from people in the community, in the Takoma Park community, and distributes it in small grants to organizations who serve our community. The Azalea Awards are a tradition that started many years ago. It's to give special awards and recognition to people in the Takoma Park community that do an exceptional job in a number of different categories. I think we've got about 10 categories now, mentor, activist, teacher, coach, a lot of different categories, and it's just to recognize very special community members. I think it's particularly appropriate that we have the Azalea Awards at this wonderful, very diverse festival, because we have a very diverse community, and the people that we recognize in our Takoma Park community are enormously diverse in their backgrounds, in their skills and talents and what they do. So this is such a great place to celebrate our Azalea Award awardees.
I feel very proud and very happy. It's nice to get an award from the community that you live in and teach in. I've been at Blair for 14 years. I've been in Montgomery County Public Schools for 18 years. Yeah, that's the exciting part about being a teacher, getting to see them grow up. And particularly when you teach in the community that you live in, you see them as they grow up through school and beyond. It's a nice part of being a teacher. Thank you very much. I'm very proud to have won the award.
Oh my gosh, you left me at a loss of words, but in all honesty, we really enjoy working with the kids. Everybody was a kid at some time in their life, and somebody stepped up and tried to help them do something or get to a certain goal in life. But the biggest thing is we just want these kids to grow up, have fun with what they're doing, and be productive citizens in the community. And hopefully they'll give back like we're giving back now.
It's great. It's a great feeling. It's nice to be recognized. We do several leagues. We've been doing this for some years, maybe a decade or so, maybe more. We'll leave it at that. But we've been doing it for a while, and this is what we do. It's what we do.
And I've been working as a referee now for 22 years. And it's a way for me to stay in shape, but like I said, it's another way to give back. And then, everybody has a childish side, and we get to play with the kids on the court. We get to talk to them. We get to know them, and it's a way of building a bond with these kids. So when you're out in the street and you're walking around, you get kids that walk up to you, and they don't know your name. They just say, "Hey, ref." And it's because you made some type of impact in their life.
It's our chance to keep reliving our childhood through them. So it works.
And there are quite a few of them. 22 years, you get to see some of them transform from that 10-year-old kid to that 25-year-old man. And they're out working, they're being productive. Awesome. And they're coming back and they're working with the kids, they're coaching these kids, they're mentoring these kids. And this is what people should be doing for each other. That's what America's about.
I think it's a wonderful time to celebrate Takoma. Every city should do that, celebrate their heritage and their diversity. We should all be doing this around the country. It's nice to show that we all are all equal, and diversity means that anybody of any race or nationality can be accepted.
This is Takoma Park Festival. Takoma Park Festival. Here. I think it was countries. Things of different countries. I went to do some games and I did something in Chinese, and we made some baskets with jar. We also ate some ice cream, like you see right now.
The Sustainability Department and the Office of Public Works is here talking to residents about the Neighborhood Energy Challenge and everything that we're doing to help Takoma Park win the Georgetown Energy Prize. Talking to residents about how they can save energy, all the different programs that they can take advantage of, the rebates, incentives, such as the energy audit program that we are reimbursing residents with, and being able to help them incorporate an energy team for their neighborhood so that they themselves can win a $2,000 grand prize that they can use for anything eco-related, such as a rain garden or an eco bench or an eco block party.
The Crossroads is part of Maryland's International Corridor, and we are extremely diverse. We have about 200 businesses, and most everyone is owned by a foreign-born person, everywhere from Iran to Palestine to Korea, El Salvador, Colombia, Ecuador, you name it. We are very, very diverse. If you want to have halal meat, you can find 3 halal meat stores within 2 blocks. We have a fabulous African grocery store called Red Apple. We have things as American as IHOP and Radio Shack. We have a frozen yo if you like something cold. And we have a Starbucks. And we are nearly completely occupied with businesses. Very low vacancy, very, very safe area, known for its international quality. So it's a mix of a great mix of incomes that come together at the Takoma-Langley Crossroads. In the Takoma Park side, we're mostly single-family residential, middle class, lower middle, upper middle class, and on the other side of the intersection is heavily apartments, mostly very low-income folks. So there is an array of goods and services, and there is an outstanding farmers market, the Crossroads Farmers Market, that is going to open on June 3rd, every Wednesday from 11 to 3, and they have a wonderful matching program called Fresh Checks that's for people who receive WIC or SNAP food subsidies, and they will match their subsidy so they can double their dollars on fresh food. So that is a great thing. The market brings lots of elderly people and families to our area who then shop. The Celebrate Takoma, we're doing outreach here today because we want people in Takoma Park to realize that they have a very international shopping area right in their own city down at University in New Hampshire. And we're hoping that they will explore the area and find a new favorite. That's actually one of our taglines, find a new favorite.
Oh, the 4th of July parade celebrates Takoma diversity. We try to get as many different kind of people as we can in the parade. Anybody who wants to be in the parade can be in it, and we love having a nice cross-section of the city and of all kinds of people and genders and ethnic groups, just to really celebrate Takoma. That's what we're all about.
Yeah, and this is a great opportunity to recruit people to be in the parade, to volunteer at the parade, and to support the parade in other ways.
This year is the 126th parade. Now, I realize Takoma Park is celebrating 125 years of incorporation, and that seems like a little strange, but because they had a parade in year 1, this is actually the 126th year. So I think this is like one of the longest celebrations in Takoma Park. I mean, it's got to be since we started.
I'm sure, yeah. This billboard is a whole bunch of shots of parades in past years, and it shows a little bit of the evolution of the parade over the years. It's been a lot of different ways depending on the year.
Historic Takoma put this for us. They have a bunch of photos. We have some photos too, but yeah, this just shows how it's all changed over the years.
And we're hoping to use some of those photos in making a float for this year's parade to really show a little bit more of the history of the parade and celebrate the evolution.
Bye.
Hello, Tony. Could you come over? I need some help with my computer.
Sure, I'll be right there.
Great, thank you.
Fred, how are you?
I'm fine. Thanks for coming, Tony.
What seems to be the problem?
I'm trying to schedule an appointment to go shopping tomorrow morning. The information is on my computer and I can't get it to turn on. Can you help me?
You know, I have the number for Village of Takoma Park. I can call for you if you want.
That would be great. Thank you.
When do you want to schedule?
For tomorrow morning, about 11 o'clock.
Hello. Yep. I would like to schedule a ride for Fred Parks for tomorrow at 11. Correct. Thank you. Jack Wells will be here tomorrow at 11.
Oh, Jack, great. Thank you, Tony.
Tony and Fred are members of a village. Tony's special expertise is computers. He helps his neighbors whenever he can. Once in a while, neighbors may need help like Fred when he wanted to set up a ride. In addition to computer help, the Village of Takoma Park volunteers can help in other ways. Call to volunteer or to find out more.
There's a growing movement and awareness that is happening in our area right now. There's a recognition by municipalities, by private companies, by nonprofit organizations, and by everyday citizens that design and art matter. That design and arts are critical and essential for social change, for strengthening our communities, for improving the quality of our lives, and for uplifting the spirit of an individual. Thankfully, Takoma Park is a part of this cultural renaissance.
The names are basically Black Rhino 4488 and Black Rhino 4487. I name all of my pieces after some kind of environmental cause or some kind of environmental aspect, an important issue that's happening in the world right now. So whether it's a melting glacier, whether it's some forest that's being deforested, whether it's named after some extinct animal or an animal that is about to go extinct. And the black rhinos are some of our most precious creatures that live on the earth, and so they're named after those beautiful, incredible, majestic creatures. In my studio in Baltimore City, I have a full wood shop and metal shop, and so I design the pieces, concept. I work with the city of Takoma Park to hone the concept design and then to come up with a real piece, and worked out some of the details and some of the aspects of the pieces. And then from there once I got the green light from Takoma Park, went into fabrication, and I actually had the design I was hoping to get bent, the curved piece I was hoping to get bent from a steel bending shop, and they said they could bend it, but they couldn't do the multiple curves, so they could only do a single curve. And they said I could cut it in sections and build it myself. So that's what I did. I took it to a steel bending place. They did basically the single curve. I cut it into 4-foot sections, and then according to the design, I alternated the curved pieces. Basically, there's a steel piece reinforcing in between them, so it's welded on the butt joint, and then plug weld along the pieces that are together, and so fabricated the skeletal frame in the studio, and then rented a U-Haul because it's too big for my truck to haul here. Rented a U-Haul, and then carried them in. Did a lot of welding here, a lot of drilling, a lot of cutting, and most of the fabrication was here. The sustained effort of getting the pieces done, that was really the most difficult part. Just hanging in there to complete the project, and that was really the most difficult part because since it's such a unique project, and fortunately and unfortunately, all of my pieces are unique and authentic in the world, which is great on many levels, but it's also challenging on other levels, because when you're doing something for the first time, then you're breaking new ground, and you can only foresee so much into the future. And in this particular case, it just kept going on and on and on, but stayed with it and finished the project. And I've had such a tremendous positive feedback on the pieces. So I think everybody's very happy and pleased. So. You get to see people enjoying and using the space. I mean, that is about the most gratifying when you get to see people using the artwork and also getting the positive feedback, which is very gratifying as well. One of the first groups to use it, actually the second group, was a mother with her 2 kids, and she was sitting here in the shade, which is the way the pieces were designed. She was sitting in the shade with her 2 children, reviewing their homework with them, and that is just that goes beyond all your expectations of what these pieces are really meant for and can do. So, thank you, Takoma Park, and enjoy.
Hi Nima. Hi Gina. How's it going? Okay. What's that bucket? It's the compost bucket from the city. Oh, so is the city picking up compost now? Yeah, they are. Ah, that's so cool. How do I get a bucket? You just go online and sign up. So do the buckets attract mice and bugs? The good thing is that it doesn't. This green lid that we have out here is an airtight lid, and it prevents any mice or anything from getting in. Oh, that's great. So bugs and mice can't get in there. What about that liner? Is that compostable too? It's a compostable liner, and I got it from the city when I signed up. Hey, since I don't have a bucket, can I put some of my food scraps in your bucket this week? Sure, come on, bring it in. You have to help me with what goes in there. Okay. Well, I think I have eggshells. Yes, it does. Okay. I have a bunch of coffee grounds from this morning. Can those go in there? You can definitely put coffee grounds, even tea bags. They take napkins, even pizza boxes, and meat, any sort of meat. Any kind of meat? Yeah. What about bones? Yeah, bones and even seafood. I think I have some in here from my roommate. Okay. Let me look for it. Skippy! You can't get a head start on the compost. Skippy, you better behave. We'll compost you.
each of these images there is something that is from an animal, something that's from a plant, and something that's made by humans. There could be more than one of each of those things. And these were objects that were all round or radially organized. And I was working with different categories for organizing the world, and I was interested in flouting those categories, pushing the boundaries between the two. And when I was making these, they're based on the source images or photographs or scans of objects I put directly on the scanner. And when you do that and you have the door of the scanner open, the lid of the scanner open, the light falls off into blackness, so you get this lovely dark background. And so when I was putting these things together using computer software, I saw the blackness behind there, and it looked like these things were floating in space. So I thought of them as celestial bodies. Some people have looked at these in my studio and thought that they were maybe microscopic objects, something very small. I always saw them as very large, so it's interesting to see what people see. I think they seem like ocean objects because if I'm limiting myself to round objects, most animals that are round come from the sea. So there's a lot of seashells and starfish and spirally things in these images. So. Well, it's cool as an artist to have people look at my work and tell me what they see, because then I know if I'm communicating what I want to communicate. And I think it's great for people in the community to see what artists in their community are doing, because there's a lot of ideas that people have about what art is or what artists are like, and I think they're often surprised when they see the art that's being made, you know, in their neighborhood. and also meet the artists who are the people they've seen at the grocery store or the library. So it's cool to make those connections in the community.
I was a high school math teacher for several decades, and in teaching geometry I would make models of the Platonic solids, which are forms that were studied as early as ancient Greece, discussed by Plato, which is why they're called Platonic solids, and studied extensively in Euclid's Elements that used to be studied in every high school geometry course. And they are the so-called regular solids or regular polyhedra. They're made with faces that are all the same number of edges, all edges equal, all angles equal. And it turns out there are only 5 of them possible, and Euclid already proved that. And in modern times, it's been found that if you study symmetry, that these represent the only types of finite three-dimensional symmetry. So as one continues to study them, you find out more and more about the geometry of them. I continue to find new interesting aspects to them after years of studying them. The idea being that there's a real beauty in mathematical ideas, which is often not so readily accessible to people, but if they could be displayed pictorially with sculptures, then it shows some of those same ideas in a more accessible form. I started trying all sorts of things that would fall apart and not work, and couldn't get them done accurately enough with welding and soldering and so on. And then I got the idea of using hollow tubes that I could buy in a hobby shop, and I would bend wires to go from each tube to the end of the next one. It was a very tedious process. But now what I do is I still use the hollow tubes, but I instead get the joints made by 3D printing. I design the joint on a computer using Mathematica and send it into a 3D printing company, and they send me back the joints a couple weeks later. I start from the outside and have other forms on the inside, suspended inside. That's to give the impression of the geometry being created from the periphery with forces and lines and planes. Well, I think it can open people's minds and stimulate the imagination, so that in looking at the forms, they are called upon to picture a little bit more than what's actually there.
We decided to do an exhibit for the 125th anniversary of Takoma Park, and there are some wonderful early maps in our collection, and people like to just look at the map and figure out where they are. And there are familiar places and not familiar places. Things have changed. So we thought we'd just put them on the map, put the maps on the wall, and let people see what they can find out about the early history of Takoma. This is the 125th anniversary of the incorporation of Takoma as a town. And this map has Takoma in it only for the boundary stone. This is all 40 of the boundary stones that created the District of Columbia. Without the District of Columbia, there would be no Takoma, because we are a suburb to escape the conditions in D.C. Then the rest of the maps are various land plats that went along with selling the property. One of the things that the community center can do is present art to people who wouldn't necessarily think about art. And cartography, as one of the facets of STEAM, which is what this exhibit is all about, allows us to connect art with history.